Verify test. Looks like I'm good to go. Okay, so today I'm going to be testing my consoles I assembled just to make sure all the pieces I put in them are okay and all ready to go. And then I'll put them in a separate area for final testing where I'll run these tests again just to verify that everything checks out okay. Let me grab all of my consoles I have ready. There's a couple of them I'm going to put aside. Several of them I'm not. I'm going to have to think about what I want to do with them. I have a nice, good stack going of consoles that are very nearing ready for sale. Different colors, a few different regions. Should be very good. Very good. There's a couple I assembled yesterday that I still have to run battery tests on. Okay, so first I can go over my assessment sheet. Oh, my OBS is upside down. One second. There we go. So I'm not going to do any purely aesthetic tests right now. I'm just going to go with the basic screen condition, functionality of buttons, speakers, touchscreen, camera, charge port, all that stuff. The rest of that I can assess later because obviously the physical condition of the shell isn't going to change, neither is the screens. So this one I did already test. I was prepping this for sale, but unfortunately the top screen lens had a good gouge in it, and I really was not too happy with it, so I rejected it and threw it back in my pile. So already charged the battery, I hope. And this little slip of paper, I did a battery test on it, which there's an application I can run that's supposed to simulate a DS game. And this current battery lasted 5 hours, full brightness, full volume. I'd say that's pretty good. Okay, looking at it, those screens are nice color. They match, which is a point that will come later. I didn't charge this one, so this will be a good time to test the charger. So really what I'm looking for on the charger is, close the console, is firstly, turns on when I plug in the charger, and if it turns off, if I jiggle it, I kind of do like a circular motion. On charge ports that are bad, or maybe there's a broken solder point, that light will just randomly turn off at various points of me sort of jiggling it around. Looks good. It stays solid the entire time. I would pass that. And that's an OEM charger. Let's move on here. Obviously, the motherboard and power board work. Thing wouldn't turn on without it. This is one I've already factory resetted. Got the pink K at the top. So I'll run my slew of tests that I use with an R4 card. I have an application I run. That's interesting. That's not what my R4 icon's supposed to look like. We'll just see if it boots. So, that is not a fault of the system. Ooh, interesting. Okay. I will chalk that up to just it being an R4 card. I can run those tests. I can run a test a little later to see if it has a problem reading game carts. What I'll do is I'll test buttons. The console is still almost dead, so I'll just leave it plugged in for the time being. Using this application, which is very nice. Turn up the volume. Grab a stylus. We'll start with a button test. Just kind of press the buttons as I would if I were playing a game. Not too much pressure, or kind of under any conditions that don't feel natural. Sometimes if a button is bad, you have to press it really hard for it to register. And if you're testing buttons, you might press it a little harder than you would if you were playing. So if I were playing a game, I would probably press buttons about this hard, which they all seem to be responding. Start and select are good. All the directional pads working. Then left and right. Try diagonal inputs. Which those are fine. There we go, okay. So I don't remember if the touch screen test on this application works very well. Well, like it works fine. The problem is this section down here I can't test, so I have another application I use for touchscreens. Yeah, I don't run that test. I usually will run that via the settings. I'll connect it to my phone just to see if it will connect to an access point. From there, I just assume it works. Microphone I can test. Test, 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 test. Or I can tap it. You can see it's responding to my taps. That's good. Test the independent speakers. It's not coming through the mic, but when I press left on the D-pad, it says left. Right on the D-pad, it says right, and that's just coming out of the corresponding speakers. Don't have a motion card or a rumble pack. Everything else is good, so all of the tactile buttons work. Touchscreen I will test using DS. So this is like a drawing and writing application, and the benefit of it is it gives me the entire bottom screen to test on. I just basically do a border, then just kind of scribble in straight lines. Usually if you have a bad touchscreen, you'll be doing a straight line down, and what will happen is the touchscreen will register like a big bulge right there, where this portion of the touchscreen is just completely dead. So that tells me right there the touchscreen's good. I did speakers, I did microphone. I need to test the headphone jack, which is not really something I can show, but it's just basically me plugging it in and then playing. Okay, both left and right channels work, and yeah, no problem there. So test the cameras. I usually test these before I go putting these consoles together, so I don't go through the process of putting these consoles together only to find out that the camera is bad. Sometimes get a little lazy when it comes to that and not check them. This is an older console, as I said. I assembled this one a while back. Go through. Big forehead. Okay. Test the outer camera. Yeah, there's my stack of DSs right there. Oh, hello, Mr. Mark. Okay, camera works, charge port works. I'll do game card and SD. So let me grab a couple game cards just to test them, since that R4 card was kind of giving me grief. More than likely, it's just the R4 card. Nintendo tried their hardest to make R4 cards difficult to use by updating the system, but obviously the people creating R4 cards combated that with their own updates, but sometimes R4 cards aren't supported very well, and some updates make it so certain R4 cards don't work. on various updates. It's just a game you have to play. So here, I grabbed my entire little pile of shovelware games that I was getting with these consoles for free. Just gonna insert them and just see what the console does. Okay. Okay, no problems. Okay, read all the game cards I put in it. It read my R4 card, so I have no doubt it will run this just fine, and it is. Old crafting mama. Fantastic. Okay. Yeah, indeed. This console is ready for final testing. And then when I get through, or when I start doing the final testing, I'll stick in all of my screw covers, which this one, since I tested previously, already has all of its screw covers in, so all I need to do is give it a wipe down and take some fashionable photos of it, slap this little baby on eBay, and hopefully it finds a good home. Now this process will be largely the same for every single console. Oh, actually, what I didn't do was SD card and connect it to Wi-Fi. It's been a while since I've done this. Need to grab an SD card. Okay. I'll test the SD card. I'm going to have to test Wi-Fi later because I'm currently using my phone as a camera. Basically what I'll do is I'll just insert it and see if the console responds to it. Console's updated enough, it might be. Should have the data management, which would have been on this first page, which it doesn't because it's only version 1.4. There's other ways I can test. Either do it via the camera or Flipnote application, assuming it has a Flipnote application. I don't want to go tutorial again. Hey, it does have Flipnote. Now I gotta go through the Flipnote tutorial. Oh yeah? Uh, no. Yeah. Ah, no. Yep. Why I don't format these system drives until I'm getting ready for sale. I have to do all this crap. Hey, it seems to recognize that there is indeed an SD card in. I actually, if I recall correctly, I have an SD card that has a homebrew note Lenny exploit on it. Actually would be a better indication that the SD card works if I can run the homebrew application. All coming back to me. Ooh, that's interesting. Card doesn't want to eject very cleanly. Hmm. There it goes. It just needed to be actuated a few times. Okay, let's try that again. I gotta remember, if I remember how to do the flip note Lenny. See if I can remember. And I don't. I don't want to try it. Flip note Lenny. Launching the exploit. Edit, tap the roll film, copy, back, exit, one, edit, roll film. Alright, now something different will happen to the start screen. Highlight menu. That already doesn't confirm that the touch screen or the SD card works. I don't know what will. Okay. Aside from the Wi-Fi, console is good. Actually good to go. Honestly, I don't think many people are going to be using the Wi-Fi on these things anymore. I don't even think the eShop's open anymore. How many actual online services are still up and going? I don't know. Okay. We have a rose gold console. Actually is one of the more rare colors that I come across. Not the greatest shape. It's got some good scuffs, but scratches along the top, but really with this color console, I'm just happy that I have one. Let's see. So this one I have a note saying display color temperature difference. There is one. Obviously, it's not really going to show up, but really what I'm seeing is this top screen is a little cooler than the bottom screen. And this is a console I really don't know what to do with yet. I'm going to have to try and search around for screens that will match it. So this is one I'm just going to put in a pile for now. Deal with it later. Okay. Green PAL console. Battery tested, 4 hours and 20 minutes. One's in pretty good shape. Okay. Now I still have to run some region locking tests. I'm actually not 100% sure how these consoles differ from US consoles or how they interact with US games. So motherboard, power board turns on. Obviously, couldn't get to this far if the motherboard and power board were faulty. My R4 card, run tactile button testing. Diagnose C. Button test. Yep, I'm happy with that. Microphone. Responding to my taps. Here's work. Cool. A replacement digitizer. So it's leaving this big void under here. I'm going to calibrate the screen. This feels like a replacement touchscreen. It just has this really grippy texture to it. Yeah, let's try that again. Wrong application. So it's still leaving a little bit of a void. It's not that important because this is like really pushing the limits of where my stylus can even go. I'm not too worried about it. Usually I'll apply a screen protector that should eliminate this like really rough texture. But yeah, that's good. And put this blue DS in my right spot. Different spot for final test. Camera. Grab the headphone jack real quick. Okay, both left and right channels work. Then that's the charge port. And it stays consistent the entire time. Awesome. So check the SD card slot as well as chuck a couple shovelware games into the game card slot to see how it reacts. Okay, responding to these game cards. On up. Now I have the SD card in, I'll do the flip note Lenny. Ooh, interesting. It detects that this is a European console. I don't have too much experience using these different region consoles. Yep, SD card works. I know there is an update of the Twilight menu. I don't know if there's anything different. Cool. This guy, ready for final testing. That one I'm going to put screen protectors, and as well as the covers. Here we have a burgundy. Okay, one should have good screens. It does. It's also about to die, so I can do the charge for test right now. Yeah, charge port's good. I'll leave the charger in as I do these. Button test. Tactile buttons are good. Mic's responding to my taps. And the two speakers work. I'll try and run a calibration to see if it'll get rid of this gap, but again, you're at the edges of the screen. It shifted the parameters. Yeah, I'm perfectly happy with that touchscreen. Speakers, mic. Have the headphone jack. Both channels work. Okay, next step is cameras. Just activate by pressing. Yep, both cameras work. Already tested the charge port. Now I do game card and SD slot. Used to be a lot faster at this. Flipnote Lenny was how I played Chrono Trigger on DS. Yeah, loads highlight menu just fine. Not the fastest, but hey, it works. I'll test random games. This sort of serves as a mild cleaning function, just putting friction on those pins. Hey, I say that works. Hang on a second, did I read that right? Say that Larian Studios worked on this game, or am I just thinking about Baldur's Gate too much? Take-Two Interactive, yeah. Black Lantern, okay. I saw L Studio. I think I am playing too much Baldur's Gate. Okay, I'm happy with that. I can go on to final testing. Screw covers back in. Ready for sale. Now I have this nice night blue. Okay, this is also one with a different display temperatures. Yeah, this one's not that bad as that pink one. I'm almost okay with this. You really can't see it, but this top screen is very cold. It's almost a little bluer than it should be, not white. If that makes any sense. And then this one is more of the display color I'm used to, more of a warmer white. Like once I get into this menu, I can't even see it anymore. Let me look at it. Let me look at this pink one again. This one's pretty egregious. I think I'll give this one a pass. Only because it's so mild. Like, I think I can only really see it is because I've looked at tons of these consoles. I'll just write a note, not different enough. Okay. Did I not see that spec underneath the... Can't tell. That is. That's a spec underneath the top screen lens. Or chip in the screen. Hope it isn't the latter. Grab some IPA and rub it a little. Little chips on the... That's really hard to tell. Fingernail isn't catching on it. I can barely see it. Okay, I might not worry about it. This is one of those things that would only bother me, and I really have to look hard for it. So let's continue. Basically a tiny piece of speck underneath the lens between the LCD and the lens will create like a little distortion, but I don't even see it anymore. Maybe it was just a little surface goop. Okay, let's continue. Tactile button test. I know the volume rockers work because when I do my battery test, I have to increase the volume and the brightness up to max. And I usually do a back and forth just to see to make sure that A, that I'm at full volume and full display brightness, and B, if volumes work. Ah, right shoulder button's unresponsive. The right shoulder button is with the SD card. This one has top screen screw covers already in, so must be another console I rejected because of the top screen lens. I didn't complete the test there. A little ahead of myself here. Okay, that's good. Grab the touch screen. Yep. Both channels on the headphones work. Camera. Yep. Charge port. Yep. Start an SD card slot. So if the SD card slot doesn't work, then I will assume that that ribbon cable has become disconnected. I'm probably just going to be replacing that board. Okay. I'm going to replace that board real quick. Pretty easy and modular board. And yeah, I did put this one back together. There's evidence of Elmer's glue. What I used to put the screw covers back on. Does a good job holding them, and if they ever need to come off, they're not that hard to take them off. Elmer's glue doesn't destroy the shell or the screw protectors. This is the DSi stylus. I'm gonna swap that out. The DSi and DS lights, or DSi and DSi XLs have different styluses. This is an OEM one, black one. Part I'm looking at is right over here. Completely take it apart. I want me putting in the stylus a little counterproductive, but so there's really no reason why this button's not working. I can hit it with some contact cleaner from the back, see if that works. So I don't have to completely chuck a otherwise fine ribbon. Uh, Certainly knock those off. What I can do is just flush it out with just put it all. Sometimes the fixes for these things is just pressing it a whole lot, knock whatever garbage, whatever buildup is on the contacts itself. Free. Merging it in IPA and then just pressing it a whole lot. Okay. Dry it out a little. And in the process of me putting it back together, it'll really dry. It'll take me a second. Right? Not going to fully assemble it yet. I'll just make sure that the right figure works before putting these back screws. I'm sure I could have just opened the camera, but I want to test this button a few times, not just once. There it goes, just needed a good cleaning. Okay. And I know the SD card works as Flipnote Lenny loaded. I didn't go through the whole Flipnote Lenny process, but it loaded the files to initiate Flipnote Lenny. So I'm just going to assume that if it can read the SD card, it will launch into Twilight menu. Go back on. Color variation is still bothering me. I might just put this one aside. I'll just label that I tested it. Coffee's really hitting me hard, but I'm not doing any repairs. Really aches. Okay. Battery back in. I'll actually run game card quick. I actually don't remember if I did the charge port. I'll do it again just in case. Getting game cards just fine. Dual loads up. I'll grab my charge port. Charge cable. Yep. Works just fine. So if I do swap the touchscreens, I will have to test the touchscreen again, but other than that, all the components are fine. I'll test one more. I think I'm gonna call it because I'm hungry. So this is a console, is an American white console. Now, that doesn't actually exist because the American ones are, or not the American ones, but the white ones are exclusive to Japan. This, however, the third-party shell. So this one, oh yeah, I remember. This one also has a color variation. Top screen is more red. I actually mildly see that on camera. This one's, that's not just the angle of the LCD. I'm gonna have to work on developing a way of matching these screens. That really bothers me. That one I'm just gonna put aside for now. Do Red Mario Edition one. These ones are not as rare as the pink ones, but about as hard to find parts for. Nice. Nice color matching. So almost dead. Put a charge test on it. Orange light stays on. Plugged in. Did I leave any notes? So volume down not working. Did I Okay, I did fix that. So when I run the battery tests, I test the volume rockers because I need to increase the volume as well as the brightness. In that case, I identified that the volume down was bad. It looks like I already changed that ribbon, so good to go there. Go on to the tactile button testing. Okay, it's worked fine. Mic's responding. Speaker. Touchscreen. Yeah, it's a good OEM touchscreen. Nice and slippery. Okay, have to test the headphone jack. Sometimes I forget to clean these. It looks like that. Okay. Both channels work. Camera. It looks like this one was factory reset, so I'm probably gonna have to go through this tutorial. Ugh, I don't like. I don't even want to think about how many times I've done this. Try the distortion lens, won't ya? Oh, isn't that cool? Okay, cameras work. Tested the charge port. I'm on to game card and SD. Oh god, I don't. See if we have data management. This looks like a. Yep. Yep. Fix the SD card. I had the 3DS transfer tool on it, so I'm positive that's the highest update. Okay. Random games. Gold. Paws and claws. You know what? Let's boot Crafting Mama. That's classic. The first shovelware game I got. We're exclusively testing game card slots and cleaning them. Alright, this console passes. And basically I'm just gonna repeat that console, or repeat that process on the rest of my consoles, and hopefully get them buttoned up and ready for sale. That will be an exciting time indeed. Okay, I'm gonna call it good. I'm getting hungry, so I shall do what I want to do next.